It's a situation where they have guns to our heads saying, put your weapons down. We can't.
I would say outright, you shouldn't use violence, even if you believe violence is coming to you.
We are so sick of being targeted and berated and called Nazis and called Hitler.
Joining me tonight for our panel, Amber Duke, senior editor of the Daily Caller, and Christina Bobb, an attorney for Judicial Watch. Amber, let's start with you. These Epstein files have already caused a sacking in London. When can we expect to see sackings in Washington, if ever?
Well, I guess we would have to see it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Amber,
I guess
you go ahead.
I guess we'll have to see an analogous situation, which would be if a political leader is seen to have continued praising Jeffrey Epstein after the allegations against him were made public. But I think, the through line here is that the American people want more transparency about the documents. The Oversight Committee, led by Republican Jamie Comer, who was on your show earlier, has been releasing more information, including bank records, the copies of the entries in that diary that was given to Jeffrey Epstein, the birthday card that was given to Jeffrey Epstein, and some other information. But ultimately, people want to know who were the clients of this supposed massive pedophile ring. And I think until they get that, there's still going to be dissatisfaction.
Well, yeah, on that point, Amber, I think it's, Donald Trump campaigned incredibly hard to have these files released and then said, oh, actually, it's a Democrat hoax. Surely the voting public just hear and see the hallmarks of a cover-up.
Yeah, I think that's true to an extent, but I will also say that when you look at polling, you see that people do have very strong feelings about the Epstein files. They believe they should be released. They think that the Trump administration is covering them up, but it ranks as a very low priority issue for them. It's way down in, the 10 to 15 level issue priority category. So in terms of political ramifications as we head into the 2026 midterms, I don't think this is going to be something that's really on voters' radar.
Christina, it may be an issue being blown up by the Democrats for sure and the media, but yeah, as Amber says, not really focusing on voters' minds. But in terms of the victims, you've fought Washington corruption and cover-ups on the front line yourself. Do you believe his victims will ever get justice?
I think there will be some level of transparency, and I think it's absurd that the Democrats are now accusing Donald Trump when Ghislaine Maxwell herself says that he was never involved, he was cooperative, and he actually was one of the informants originally way back in the beginning when they went after and targeted Jeffrey Epstein. And Democrats have had plenty of opportunities. Republicans have had plenty of opportunities. This has been going on since 2006, and the entire Biden administration, the entire Obama administration could have done something about it, and they didn't. So it's a hot potato that has landed in Donald Trump's lap. I think they're doing their best with what they have. They need to get some more information. I don't think it's as clear as people have thought it was, considering this investigation has gone on for 20-something years under multiple administrations. So I think they're wrapping their arms around it. And the interview of Ghislaine Maxwell, I think, was incredibly transparent. I think James Comer is doing what he can to get some information, but they basically need to refresh the investigation because it had grown stale with the politicization of it over the prior administrations.
Christina, I'm not trying to put you out of a job here in any way, but call me old-fashioned, but when people lose elections and then the power changes, going after your sort of political opponents through lawfare, through the courts, used to be the sort of thing of the trick of a dictator in the banana republic. Do we think it's gone too far now in that once an administration wins or loses an election, they spend not time trying to speak to voters to win back support, but instead trying to bang their political opponents up or their kids?
I think it's gone incredibly too far, but the problem we have is the left is still coming after the right. As we have this conversation right now, I am still a criminal defendant for a crime that never occurred. And everybody knows the crime never occurred. And the case got dismissed in Michigan. I'm in Arizona. You've got all of these liberal cases that are still ongoing. And so I love the idea of everybody just taking a break and stepping back. But we can't until they agree to stop. It's a situation where they have guns to our heads saying, put your weapons down. We can't. They have put us in a position where conservatives have to fight back and they have to investigate these people because they're coming after us. And if we don't expose the corruption and we don't expose, and I'm not just targeting left, although the left is the one that's using lawfare the most at the moment, because
they're in opposition.
Right, exactly. But they have put us in a corner and forced us to fight for our life, and we're fighting back, and they're going, hey, stop fighting us. And it's like, wait a second, you guys are the ones that still have open cases against conservatives, against Trump supporters in Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia. I mean, those cases are all still open, other than the Michigan one was just dismissed this week, or last week, I should say. So, yeah, I totally agree with you. I would love nothing more for all of this to stop, but we can't until we know we're not going to be targeted again.
I got you. Amber, Congressman Coleman was pretty fascinating there on Prince Andrew. Obviously, we've seen the fallout for Peter Mandelson and the government here. What do you reckon? It sounded to me like he was pretty clear that there is some Prince Andrew documentation within the Epstein files that we could be seeing quite soon. What do you think the fallout from that's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll believe it when we see it, I think. I mean, one of the problems is that there's been a lot of overpromising as it relates to the Epstein documents. And we've also seen the Democrats who didn't care at all about the Epstein investigation while Joe Biden was in office, running around with signs saying that Trump is a pedophile and that there's surely going to be something in there, or there is something in there that the Trump administration is trying to hide to prevent his apparent culpability. And yet all of the Epstein victims who are still alive when they came to Washington, D.C., were interviewed by NBC News and said that they had never seen anything untoward from Donald Trump. So I think there is a high degree of caution that people have to take with all allegations until the evidence is presented publicly.
Guys, I want to move on. I want to talk about Elon Musk. He's been blasted as dangerous by our Prime Minister Keir Starmer here in London. He joined a Unite the Kingdom rally. 150,000 people marched on London, organised by controversial figure Tommy Robinson. Over video link, Musk told the British people that violence is coming to you. You either fight back or you die. Christina, is that useful for the world's richest man to be weighing in the politics of a country that's not his own, supposedly an ally, and using language that at this time, particularly this week, seems pretty off?
Well, I would certainly hope that he didn't mean fight back with actual violence, but fight back by protecting your rights, with your vote, with all of the political process that we have. So having not heard that phrase from him myself, I will give him the benefit of the doubt that that's what he meant.
Let's watch the clip. It's quite stark. I want to get your reaction to this.
Whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming to you. You either fight back or you die. You either fight back or you die. And that's the truth.
Today, Elon, I think the British public are telling the world that they're ready to fight back.
Good. Yes.
Come on.
Amber, bring you in here. Elon Musk, we thought he was walking away from politics to go back and carry on making electric cars. He was out of the administration, but he's clearly not out of the public eye in terms of politics. What do you make of that clip?
Yeah, I would have used a different phrase there as opposed to whether or not you use violence. I would say outright, you shouldn't use violence, even if you believe violence is coming to you. He should frame it more in terms of self-defense. All of that being said, I think the key thing here is that Elon Musk has been a consistent proponent of free speech. He obviously has been targeted by the British government for his platform X, which he has been accused of using to spread disinformation, which is apparently criminal now in the UK and in Britain. And I think it's a real shame that that people there seemingly don't have the ability to exercise free speech. And that really is an existential threat for a democracy.
Christina, the awful incident last Thursday, the horrific murder of Charlie Kirk. Seeing Elon Musk use language like that, especially this week, as we sort of said, is not helpful. But we've seen, it's not just Elon Musk, is it? The left have been celebrating his murder online. The right declaring that they're going to rise up and start a new movement. I want to get both your opinions, but Christina first, how influential, and it seems like a sort of quite blasé question in a way, but just a week on, but how influential was that moment in American history? And are we at a turning point?
100% we're at a turning point. I think a lot of people saw what the left was actually doing. And we can talk about Elon Musk and we can talk about all this rhetoric, but the facts of the matter is when you have one side calling the other side Nazis and Hitler and hitting this rhetoric over and over and over again, trying to justify violence against this one side, and then we see someone like Charlie Kirk assassinated, it really should wake people up to say, you know what, this language is dangerous. To your point in the earlier segment, the language itself isn't violence, but it leads people to violence.
J.D. Vance, the Vice President, obviously a close friend of Charlie Kirk, an ally. They work very closely together. It's an argument that J.D. Vance would not be the Vice President without the influence of Charlie Kirk behind the scenes. But he says tonight that this is not a time for unity. Is that the right message? And what does he mean by that? And is it too late for words like "come together"?
Well, I think, at least I can't say, his intent, but what I would take from that and what I think he means by that is that the right has no problem with, transgender, with the left living and existing and doing what they want to do. We can coexist. And this assassination against Charlie Kirk really solidified, kind of in a lot of conservative minds, is the left doesn't feel that way about us. They don't feel like they can coexist with us. And so the idea of this is not a time for unity is we are so sick of being targeted and berated and called Nazis and called Hitler and had, the woke left shoot up our children at schools and loved ones and assassinate people for the way that they speak, that it's a time to stand on our principles and stand on what we believe and not allow the left to take any more ground. So that's the way I take it. I think he's right in that regard. It's not a time to try to find common ground. It's a time to take the ground that we've lost, meaning we can live freely and safely in society without fear. I believe that's what he meant.
And Amber, do you believe that the right will be able to do that with just words, essentially, words and organising? I'm old enough to remember when, causes deaths that were taken on by the left ended up with riots, shops boarded up, cars on fire across America. But with the death of Charlie Kirk, we've seen, vigils, candles, and still silence, but, boiling anger, but nothing like a response with violence. Do you think that will continue?
Yes, I do. And conservatives have historically reacted this way to being out of power or to being marginalized. If we go back to the 60s and 70s in the United States, there was a similar, I think, amount of political violence, a lot of it coming from the left at that time, too. Over time, I think liberals stopped engaging in political violence because they captured so much of American institutions and the government. And the reason why we're seeing this uptick as of late is because Republicans and conservatives have taken back power. They've rooted out far left extremism from the university system, from Hollywood, and from the government. And so now they're lashing out.
Do you think that it's too very quickly, one word from each of you, do you think that's, have we, has the Rubicon been crossed? Will this be able to be brought back together, or are we looking at a very divided country and a very divided West going on? Amber, yes?
It's going to be very divided for a while, I think.
Christina, are you more hopeful or not?
I am more hopeful. I think we'll eventually get there, but it's going to be a fight.
Christina, Amber, Duke, that was Harry Cole Saves the West. Thank you for joining us.